So, it looks like you guys are back for more. And although last year's predictions were pretty good, there were some that were bad. Seattle Seahawks, only because of Russell Wilson, they do become a playoff team, in my personal opinion. This year, I'm here to change it. This is going to be the absolute perfect tier list that you have ever seen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Triple DS's 2022 season tier list. If you're not familiar with this, every year at the beginning of the year, since last year, I've started to make a tier list prediction of how each NFL football team is going to end up. As always, ladies and gentlemen, please consider subscribing. We are on the road to 1,000 subs. We are very, very close. Just look at those subscribe counts. I mean, it must be a 980 and 981 or something like that. I'd greatly appreciate it if you guys do subscribe to the channel. We will start posting a lot more football related content. As I stated in a previous video, my next What Happened To player will be RG3. So if you're into football and you're into a lot of different things, this is the channel for you. Before we get started, let me just explain exactly how this goes. There is 5 different categories. There's going to be your Super Bowl contenders. There's going to be your playoff teams. There's going to be your average teams, which is about 7 to 9 wins. There's also going to be mediocre, which is between 4 to 6 wins. And then there's trash, 0 to 4 wins. And I'm going to go left to right. So it seems like they're in alphabetical order based off of their location. So Arizona, Atlanta, Baltimore, etc., etc. So we're going to go from left to right unless I choose to skip a team for one reason or another. Maybe I just want to talk a little bit more about them. Right off the bat, the Cardinals, with their controversy, Kyler Murray needing to do some homework. I mean, the jokes left and right about this franchise. Similar to my Josh Freeman video, this team has a knack for starting off hot, then collapsing. Now Murray, with this big contract, has a lot to prove this year. No D-Hop in the first 6 games of the season for the Cardinals. And on top of that, you have no Christian Kirk and aging AJ Green, albeit you do have James Conner. I do believe that this team is going to take a slight step back. This might be the beginning of the end for the Cliff Kingsbury era, y'all. This is going to be a 7 to 9 win team. The Atlanta Falcons, led by Marcus Mariota, are in a brand new regime. This is a new head coach quarterback combo. Clearly, Mariota is not necessarily going to be the future of the Falcons unless he's going to play lights out. At the end of the day, he is still relatively young. He was drafted in 2015, which sounds crazy, but that was already 7 years ago. Unless some magic happens with Mariota to Pitts, this is a team that is going to be rebuilding this year. I don't see them getting more than 3 wins, even in a 17 game season. The Baltimore Ravens. This was one of the most injury prone teams of the 2021 season. And if Lamar Jackson isn't Lamar Jackson, the Ravens could have done a lot worse. I have nothing to gain by saying good things about the Ravens, but at the end of the day, if you have Lamar Jackson, you do have a chance. He is just too dynamic of a player for you to ignore. Even if the entire team gets hurt, which I really doubt is going to happen again this year. You got your corners coming back, including Marcus Peters, Humphreys. Any team led by Coach John Harbaugh, quarterback by Lamar Jackson, you know they're going to be a little bit better than average. The Ravens are going to bounce back. They will be a playoff team this year. The Buffalo Bills, this is honestly... If the Bills, look, this is coming from an unbiased opinion, y'all. If the Bills beat the Chiefs, I don't know if our team is built to beat the Bills. We can beat the Chiefs because if it ends up in a shootout, we have a chance. But the Bills defense is just, that front 7, I should say, is just scary. Y'all saw what Aaron Donald and Von Miller did to the Bengals in the Super Bowl. You don't think they would have done that to them in the AFC Championship? There is every reason to believe the Bills are 6 seconds away from a Super Bowl last year. For that reason, they are Super Bowl contenders again this year. Tell me I'm wrong, y'all. The Bills, unless something catastrophic happens, the Bills are here to stay, y'all. They will take the AFC East. They will run the gauntlet, and honestly, they're my pick for the AFC. The Carolina Panthers, led by, Baker, led by Darnold. This team, until they can figure things out at quarterback, Robbie Anderson is just going to keep having tantrums on the sidelines. The Panthers are another team that I don't see much coming out of them, despite having actually a low-key okay defense. I don't see them getting past 5 wins. They are going to be a mediocre team. The Bears, I've seen people rank them as a playoff team. I've seen them ranked as a bottom of the barrel team. What exactly are the Bears? Well, I'm here to tell you guys exactly who they are. They are exactly who we think they are.
The Bears are who we thought they were. They are who we thought they were.
They are a team that outside of Daryl Mooney, which will get damn near all the coverage on him, they will struggle. Justin Fields is going to have a bad time in the 2022 season. David Montgomery is your knight in shining armor on that offense, but outside of that, what exactly do you guys have? You lost Khalil Mack, you lost Roquan Smith, who as of this recording has requested a trade. It doesn't seem like he's going to sign with y'all. It does seem like you guys are in a rebuild mode despite having a pretty good quarterback. I am not on the side of Adam Rank, who thinks the Bears are a playoff team.
10 wins for me for the Chicago Bears.
They will be a bin team, mark my words. They will get 3 wins maybe. I guess I should bring this up right now. At the end of the video, I always go back and change people up in the tiers. The more left you are, the better I think you are going to end up in the season. The more right you are is the worse that you are. Does that make sense? So let's go ahead and continue with the Cincinnati Bengals. My who day. I mean, I got a whole damn, I don't know, is it a mural that you'd call it? I don't know what you'd call it. But I got my claw that I got in Cincinnati, a Burrow card, a rare one at that. You know, Burrow again, alternate helmet. It was a absolutely wonderful, wonderful time that I had last year when my Bengals were in the Super Bowl. There's nothing more I could have hoped for other than maybe just 3 more seconds or 2 more seconds for Joe Burrow to find Jamar Chase. But whatever, what's done is done. At the end of the day, we are still in this race. We proved it. We beat the Chiefs twice. Are they Super Bowl contenders? I do not think so. What? I think they take just a step back this year. But don't get it twisted. The Bengals are here to stay. But I want to see what is going to go down with every other team in the AFC. The Chiefs, yes, we'll talk about the Chiefs later. But, you know, there's a lot of teams in the AFC. Like, honestly, outside of what? The Jets, who even then, they're not that bad. The Jags, the Texans. Outside of those 3 teams, I feel like every AFC team has a legit chance to make the playoffs or further. That's what's holding me back about putting the Bengals any higher than playoff contender or a playoff team. So that's where they're going to stay. Maybe I switch things up, but right now that's where I have him at. Jamar Chase is that guy. Tyler Boyd, even though he's getting up in age, and by getting up in age, I mean he turned 28 years old, I think. This is a team that's young, hungry, with a better offensive line. They're going to be a playoff team, and if I want to put an actual number on it, I'll give them 12 wins. To 11 to 12 wins. The Cleveland Browns, guys, I don't even want to stay on this team for too long. They are just an embarrassment of a team. There is something to be said about how desperate you must be as a team. Nobody, and I mean nobody, was willing to give that man that contract. Would you have, I mean, I don't know what was going through their head, but this just screams Cleveland Browns. This guy is going to get suspended. I'm not even going to say his name. This guy is going to get suspended for probably at least 12 games. And with Jacoby Brissett leading the way, I don't think these Browns are going to do much. The Browns gonna Brown. Some people have them as Super Bowl contenders. And until they prove me wrong, I am going to continue to say that the Browns gone Brown. And they will be a 7 to 9 win team. Now, the Dallas Cowboys, another team where, you know, honestly, it's more of the fans. I mean, do you guys hate the Cowboys because of Aikman? Because of Evan Smith? Because of Michael Irvin, the guy who actually won championships? Probably not. Why are you guys sick of the Cowboys? Because of the damn fans. They never know when to just give up and stop saying it's their year. It's almost a tradition in the NFL that they will get like 4 to 5 wins. How about them boys? Collapse. Because they are in that god-awful division that doesn't every year, it never seems like that division ever gets better. They will win this division, so they will technically be a playoff team, but until they prove me wrong, they're most likely going to be all the way to the right. As much as I like Dak Prescott, Zeke is not the running back he once was, and unless they're ready to put Pollard in more often than Zeke, that running game will not be as good as it once was. They were struggling already even before the offensive line took a step back, and that they did. They lost Lael Collins. Zach Martin's coming off of an injury. This is not the same Dallas Cowboys offensive line that they once were. Cowboys are going to stay at playoff team. I will not put them higher. They're most likely going to be on the right side, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Now, I'm going to skip the Broncos because I think I'm going to tackle the AFC West last. They're going to be the last place I focus on. So we'll skip the Broncos for now, and we're going to go right to the Detroit Lions. I love Dan Campbell and his tenacity. This guy is very fiery. Amon-Ra St. Brown definitely had a breakout season, and I expect that to be much better this year. Hawkinson is a top 5 tight end. As much as Goff is a question mark, he at the very least is a game manager starting caliber player. I mean, for the most part, he shouldn't lose the game for you. Your first round corner from last year should be back. I know he got hurt at the very early on in the year. I don't even remember if he played or not, but he should be back. The defense should be slightly better. With all that being said, it doesn't take much to get better from last year's Detroit Lions team, but they do take a step up. They are in the mediocre side. They are slowly coming out of that rebuild mode, and if all goes well, who knows in the future, but not this year. Aaron Rodgers, with the psychedelics and all, looks to have another year where he is playing lights out football without Devontae Adams. You still got A.J. Dillon. You still got Adam Jones. You don't have David Bakhtiari. That offensive line without him did struggle a little bit last year, but it's Aaron Rodgers. He gets it done no matter what. He may take a step back, but I don't think it's as big as some people are saying it's going to be. He was doing great before Adams even got there. Something tells me he'll be just fine. The Packers are at the very least going to be a playoff team, but I don't know if they're necessarily a Super Bowl contender. That was a monstrous letdown, and although I do feel for the most part the Packers aren't going to get worse, they are most certainly not going to get better. And what did they do last year? They made it to the divisional round of the playoffs. They were one and done, and I don't see them doing any better than that. As much as I don't think they'll be that much worse, I don't see them doing anything better than that, so I can only put them at a playoff team, y'all. I made a Houston Texans tier at the end of my video last year. They proved me wrong. The first game of the season, they beat the Jaguars. I already proved my prediction wrong. So kudos to the Texans. They're actually a little bit on the up and up. They actually found something in Davis Mills that I'm sure they're going to continue to explore this year and maybe even beyond. And as much as I do want the Texans to do well, they are not going to do much in this division. That includes the Jaguars. They will still come in last place. I have the Houston Texans in the bin still for another year. So the Indianapolis Colts, led by the one and only Matt Ryan. If the Colts have a better quarterback, they make the playoffs last year. Jonathan Taylor is nothing to sneeze at. Michael Pittman continues to get better and better every year. And don't even get me started on that offensive line led by Quentin Nelson. The defense is actually pretty damn good. I don't know how this team lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars last year, but they did. I expect Ryan and company to have a better season this year, and we are going to predict that they are a playoff team come this time around. And speaking of the Jacksonville Jaguars, somehow they ended the season on a very high note, defeating their rival, the Indianapolis Colts, causing them to miss the playoffs. And if you guys remember, nobody wanted to play the Colts in the playoffs. They were hot as any team was at that point in the season. Given that Trevor Lawrence is too damn good to be bad, I guess to be this bad again for another year, because of him and the fact that they're getting their running backs back, the wide receiving group led by the $75 million man Christian Kirk should be an upgrade for Trevor Lawrence. Who knows? I mean, that might be the next quarterback wide receiver duo that we're talking about. Maybe Shahid Khan saw something that we didn't see. You can't forget that Doug Peterson is a Super Bowl champion. He brought a Super Bowl to a team that never had won the big one. Your offense will get you to 4 to 6 wins, Jaguars, but it won't get you more than that. I'd say about 6 wins on the high note. That's actually a huge step up from where you guys once were, though. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the Super Bowl champions, the Los Angeles Rams. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I'm still a little bit bitter. Nothing changed from their team, really, outside of OBJ, but they were killing it even before he got there. And something tells me that he might just end up signing with them later on in the season anyway. Cooper Kupp was a Triple Crown winner here with the yards, the catches, the touchdowns. Very few receivers can say they've done that. They should be getting Cam Akers back fully healthy, and Matthew Stafford, with just one season, proved that if you're not on the Detroit Lions, you can actually even win the Super Bowl. There's no weak spot on this Rams team that I can see. Their defense is solid, led by Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. And on offense, well, everyone that I just mentioned. There's no reason they couldn't attempt another repeat. Let's move on to the Miami Dolphins. I understand you have Tyreek Hill, you have Jalen Waddle, you have all the pieces here to be great. Your biggest question mark right now is Tua Tagovailoa. And you guys want to really know what I think? I think this is going to prove that he is not that guy. As much as Hill wants to say this is the most accurate quarterback he's ever seen, I'm sorry, they will be a 7-9 win team. I think that in the AFC East, they will finish in 3rd place. I understand you have the fastest wide receiver tandem in the NFL, but I don't see how, unless I see something different out of Tua, I don't see him taking advantage of that. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, Dolphins fans. I just don't. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let's go ahead and move on to the Minnesota Vikings, led by new head coach Kevin O'Connell. On offense, you got Adam Thielen, you got Justin Jefferson, you've got Irv Smith Jr. coming back, who I thought was going to break out, but unfortunately he got hurt. Kirk Cousins continues to prove, hey, I'm at the very least above average starting quarterback. Even when you don't got Cook, you got Madison who kills it when Cook's not there. On defense, that's where your biggest questions come into play. I couldn't even tell you outside of Danielle Hunter who is on that defense. And speaking of Hunter, he was actually doing pretty good until he got hurt in like week 3 or week 4. I'm expecting the Vikings to do a little bit better, but they didn't do that great to begin with last year. They will be a 7-9 win team. The New England Patriots, they showed promise with Mac Jones. They showed promise that Bill Belichick is still a capable head coach. It wasn't just all Tom Brady, but my goodness, did y'all get shellacked by the Bills. I just don't know where to put them. I mean, yes, they're probably most likely going to be a playoff team, or maybe not. I think they stay pretty much right where they are. I'm going to have them here for now. I still think they'll do better than the Dolphins, but I might touch on them back a little bit later. Once I get more teams on this list, I mean, I'm still not going to be done, so we might come back to the Patriots, but I have them at 7-9 wins. The New Orleans Saints, when Jameis Winston was healthy last year, a lot of you guys might forget, when Jameis was healthy last year, the Saints looked pretty dangerous. Now that there's no Sean Payton, I mean, coaching matters, y'all. And Alvin Kamara might still face disciplinary action from the NFL. I don't know if he's already been suspended or if he's going to get suspended. My thought is that he won't start the season off playing for the Saints. Michael Thomas is coming back after being off for almost 2 years, so he should bounce back. I like the combo of Winston to Thomas, should they both be healthy. Defense is still pretty damn good with Cam and Jordan on the back burner. All in all, this team, outside of losing Sean Payton, I don't know. They are a playoff team to me, in my opinion, y'all. This is gonna be a playoff team. New Orleans, New York Giants. Look, bottom line, I'm just gonna sum this up very, very quickly about the New York Giants. Unless you get rid of Daniel Jones, you're not gonna do much. Saquon, he hasn't proven that he can take back his rookie form because he continuously keeps getting hurt. And even when he does play, even when he played last year, it didn't feel like he was the same Saquon. And you're paying a receiver in Kenny Golladay who can get as much separation as a certain quarterback from a massage parlor. All in all, the Giants, until you guys do something about Daniel Jones, or unless something changes, this is going to be a bin team. They are not good. Similar to the Jets, although they will take a step up, Zach Wilson, should he come back healthy, may have a better year than he had last year. I loved the Jets draft. They might have had the best draft in the entire league last year or this past year. They filled a lot of gaps that they needed to. Their running backs are looking scary. Their wideouts are looking good. I love Sauce Gardner. This defense should improve. Offense should improve. That being said, 4 to 6 wins only because your AFC contemporaries are just so overpowering. If you were in the NFC, there's a chance I put you up in the 7 to 9 wins, Jets. But I'm sorry, you guys play in the AFC. We move on to the Philadelphia Eagles, where Jalen Hurts continues to prove that he is a quarterback, yet somehow people don't think that he's capable of leading this team, and I don't know why. The team is behind him. From fantasy, he puts up numbers. He's in the top 3 of quarterbacks. Every year, he's gotten better. So if he continues on this path, I see the Eagles doing better as well. Well, for now, I'm going to skip the Eagles just because I'm not sure where to exactly put them. So we're going to move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, where the time has come for the Steelers to hit rebuild. But because it's led by Mike Tomlin, they are not going to be your traditional lose 13 games kind of rebuild. They'll still be competitive because they still have Mitch Trubisky, who is severely underrated. Najee Harris is one of the best backs in the NFL, but Many are fooled because of their offensive line. The Steelers somehow got worse on the offensive line, and on defense, they're okay. They're not great. Unless the Browns collapse, a lot of people have the Steelers as the 4th team in the AFC North. Something that hasn't happened in a very, very long time. This is going to be the first time that Mike Tomlin takes a bad record or a below 500 record. They will be in the 4 to 6 wins. I will give them 6 wins. I just think everyone on that AFC, similar to the Jets, they're just on a whole nother level. I would not be shocked if my prediction here is wrong, but you know what? When the time comes, the time will come. The Seattle Seahawks, you're being led by Drew Lock, Noah Fant, not Chris Carson. He retired from a neck injury, so I hope First things first, hope all is well with Chris Carson. Now this team is being led by Rashard Penny. Even though you got Drew Lock and or Geno Smith, you got DK, you got Tyler Lockett, you do have Noah Fant. The pieces are there to make some sort of impact. This is truly Drew Lock's final chance to be anything outside of a backup quarterback, and even then a mediocre backup quarterback. And unfortunately, you guys will kind of be on the mediocre side. I'm so sorry. Alright guys, we're getting to the nitty gritty. We're down to our last 9 teams. So let's go ahead and knock these bad boys out. 49ers. I think that they will be better with Trey Lance. You don't take that chance and replace Jimmy G with somebody that you're not confident in. Because at the very least, he can get you to the championship. He can get you to the Super Bowl. So that's one thing you got to remember. Other than that, the teams have stayed intact. And even with the Rams in their division, the Niners played hard. I kept saying that the Niners, if they stay healthy, are going to be one of the best teams. And I was right on the money with that prediction last year. This should be another team that repeats as Super Bowl contenders. Debo is that guy. Ayuk is that guy. If Kittle can stay healthy, this is a dangerous offense. Their defense is absolutely a monstrosity as well. You tell me if you want to get hit by Jimmy Ward, okay? So it's going to be a two-headed race. So let's move on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady coming back, but not Rob Gronkowski. This is still a team that has Godwin, Evans, and now you have replaced Antonio Brown with Julio Jones. If Julio Jones is your third option, what the hell are the other teams going to do to stop these guys? Leonard Fournette is having a renaissance in Tampa Bay. The only question mark that I really have is that offensive line. Jensen went down with an injury. You lost both of your guards. I know, because the Bengals took one of them. So what is this going to happen for a stay in the pocket statue known as Tom Brady? If the offensive line can figure it out, there's no reason that they are not a high playoff team. Let's move on to the Tennessee Titans, and I think this is going to be the regression of the 2022 season. There's always one team that just, for one inexplicable reason or another, they collapse and they fold. Despite having Derrick Henry, you lost A.J. Brown. Despite drafting Malik Willis, you're still starting Tannehill, who showed that he chokes under pressure. There was no reason for the Bengals to win that game, but you know what, Tannehill? We owe you one. The Mike Vrabel Titans this year are going to take a step back, y'all. They are going to be in the 7 to 9 win category.
Wowie.
Sorry if I triggered some Titans fans, but you guys will be the team that does take that dramatic step back. Y'all will go from 13 wins to probably 7 or 8 in my opinion. Now let's move on to the Washington Commanders, formerly known as the Washington Football Team, formerly known as the Washington
Redacted.
It's teams like the Commanders and the Giants that always give the Cowboys fans this false hope that it's their year. It makes sense. You're pouncing on these hopeless, hapless teams. Yes, Terry McLaurin got paid, and rightfully so, he should have been paid. But who's your quarterback? Heineke again?
Nope.
Although you guys should be getting Chase Young back, unless you guys replicate what y'all did last year on defense, or 2 years ago I should say on defense, this is not going to be a very happy story for an organization that has just been crumbling since 91? The Washington Commanders are going to be a bin team. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to the Eagles, who are the only team that have a fighting chance to knock off the Cowboys. I do not believe they do. They will be an average 7 to 9 win team. Okay, y'all. This is where it's gonna get good. Now, the way that my tier list is set up, the AFC is due for 3 more teams because the Ravens and or Bengals are gonna take one of these wild card spots, leaving 2 more, and the AFC West division title. Let's start off with the Denver Broncos, the new Walmart Broncos. With Russell Wilson, I said this last year, they were a quarterback away from being great. Although Tim Patrick got hurt, I really don't believe that he will be the difference maker like a Jamar Chase would be. With Russell Wilson, that defense is scary as is. That offense led by Melvin Gordon and Williams, who's very, very underrated. He was very underrated. People kept talking about Najee Harris. They didn't talk about Javonte. I think this is a team to beat. They will be one of the three AFC West teams to make the playoffs. As for the Chargers, I mean, they are literally, talk about snake-bitten franchises. You guys are mere seconds away from letting a tie take you guys to the playoffs. Yet somehow y'all choke. Y'all call a timeout. Why'd y'all call a timeout? Apparently the Raiders were ready to run out the clock. I think the Chargers are put in a better position this year. Justin Herbert gets better every year, as much as I hate to admit it. Keenan Allen continues to be a top 10 wideout. Mike Williams is making his case to be the next Deshaun Jackson. And you got a pretty solid offensive line. On defense, you guys are at the very least pretty decent. Derwin James should be coming back nice and healthy. The Chargers always feel like they're just a little bit away. Just something. Something always gets in the way. And I'm going to say that they don't let that happen again this year. They are going to be a playoff team. This leaves one slot open, y'all, for an AFC team to make it. Okay, guys. The AFC West team that makes it back in is going to be the Raiders.
What is wrong with you?
This is the bold prediction that I have this year. And I am going to actually create a row. Add a row below. I'm going to put the Chiefs right there. Let me just start by saying, y'all, I keep bringing up the Bengals playoff opponents, how they could have beaten us. It does prove how close of games football is. Like, it's a matter of inches. It's a matter of just a few yards. If Pratt doesn't pick it off, or if we don't make a play there, we go to overtime, who knows what could happen. Derek Carr I believe he was one playmaker away from probably going further into the playoffs. I am so sure that the AFC West is going to be a truly, truly, truly monstrous division. The Raiders with Devontae Adams. Oh, I do feel like they were just a playmaker away from being absolutely scary. If Darren Waller is your second or third option, what the hell? Who are you going to put on Waller if he's healthy? Renfro is a terrific slot. Who is going to stop this offense? The only thing that could bring the Raiders back to reality is that defense. It is do or die for Derek Carr. It's do or die for this Raiders team. You got everything that you need to make a playoff push. But you know what? To do it, you guys got to knock off, and that's honestly speaking to the rest of the AFC West, you got to knock off the powerhouse that has been to the AFC Championship for 4 straight seasons. So it's a big drop for the Chiefs to go from 4 straight championships to not even to make the playoffs. This specific year in the AFC, it's just a matter of 1 or 2 different playmakers that will make all the difference this year. The Broncos added Russell Wilson. The Chargers didn't lose anyone, didn't gain anyone, but
What the hell are you talking about?
And then Raiders added Devontae Adams. What happened to the Chiefs, y'all? Y'all lost Tyreek Hill. I had to make a whole nother tier list for the Chiefs because I don't think they're gonna play bad. I think that the AFC West are just gonna beat on each other so much that that's where all the losses for the Chiefs are gonna come from. Or that's where a good chunk of the Chiefs' losses that year are gonna come from. Because although maybe the Chiefs are better than the Ravens, 6 of the Chiefs' games come from the AFC West. Can't say the same about the Ravens. You guys get where I'm coming from in that regard? This may be the hot take, but I am saying that even though with 10 wins, even though with maybe 11 wins, the Kansas City Chiefs, led by Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, will not make the playoffs. That is my hot, bold take of the year, y'all. Losing Tyreek Hill was more damage for the Chiefs than good for the Dolphins, because I still don't know if Tua can even do, I don't know what he's going to do with Hill. But yes, there you guys have it. That is my bold take of the year. The Chiefs, 10 to 11 wins, no playoffs. So let's go ahead and move down this list. I do still need to put a Super Bowl contender here. I would have picked the Raiders, y'all. I would have. But I don't know about their head coach. I don't know about Josh McDaniels. So with that, I'm going to pick the Denver Broncos. So from left to right, I still think the Rams are the team to beat, followed by the Bills, the 49ers, and we're going to put the Denver Broncos. I kept saying, and I'm going to stick to it until I see it, the Broncos were a solid QB away from being a playoff contender. Guess what they did? They didn't get solid. They got a superstar quarterback now. And you got the Walton family who's going to hire the best of everything. The salary cap, I believe, only applies to the players. They can buy whatever they want now. And you know what? Shout out to him for saying Roger Goodell instead of Roger Goodell. That was funny.
I'd like to thank Roger Goodell, Commissioner Goodell.
Out of all these teams, I want to say that the Bucks are going to be at the most left. Followed by, let's go move y'all over here. Followed by the Bengals. Then followed by the Raiders. Then by the Chargers. Then by the Packers. Then by the Colts, and then by the Saints. I do need to add one NFC team, and if I had to pick one right now, I might have to pick the Arizona Cardinals, even though they might have a, no, I can't. They are known for having bad endings, and I don't even think they're going to have a great start to begin with. So I can't put the Cardinals. I might have to go with the Eagles, y'all. The Eagles will be the final playoff team. They will be number 7 again this year. But it just goes to show you, out of all these teams, I do think the Chiefs are better than most of these teams. But I just think the AFC West are just they're all gonna beat on each other. And unfortunately, it's not gonna roll in Kansas City's favor. They are also playing the Bengals. They are also playing the Bills. They're also playing the Titans. We're gonna keep the Titans. Well, they're gonna be the best ones. And then we'll move on to the Patriots. Then we're gonna give it to the Cardinals. Then we'll give it to the Dolphins, then the Browns, and the Vikings. Mediocre, out of all these teams, the Steelers will be the best with the mediocre. They are on the borderline of 7 wins. I go ahead and go with the Seahawks next, just because the talent's there. Followed by the Jets, the Jaguars, then the Lions. Out of all these teams, the best chance to prove me wrong, I'd say, is the Bears. Followed by Washington. Followed by, oh God, bottom of the barrel here. Followed by maybe the, I don't know. Followed by the Falcons, followed by the Texans, followed by the Giants. This is my tier list. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys all for watching, and let me know, where am I wrong? Am I crazy with my bold take? What are your guys' hot takes? I would love to know them, and if you have a really good hot take, I can even pin it for you in the comments below. That's gonna do it, y'all. Thank you guys so much for watching. If this is your first time on the channel, feel free to drop a like, comment, subscribe, turn those notifications on. We're on the road to 1,000. Thank you guys so much for the support, and until next time, shaboy!